Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Annabella's Sanctuary. I hope you're all doing really well and it's good to have you all back. So if you're returning to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. We're going to cook up a really delicious blackberry tart. And if you're new to my channel, thank you for coming. Thanks for joining us because today we're going to be cooking together and I can't wait to share this recipe with you. It's a delicious blackberry frangipane tart. I think I've just been getting very inspired by the festive period. During these hard times, obviously, these trying times, cooking is becoming just more and more important to me, and it always has been massive part of my life. So I've been inspired really by the festivities, and I really wanted to make something sweet with you and make something nice and show you how easy this can be to make. So today we're going to start cooking this together right now, and then I'm going to be all ready to start with you guys. Right, okay, let's get started. Just going to show you here some ingredients. So there's 3 stages to this particular blackberry frangipane tart. So we have to first of all start with the sweet short crust pastry, and I have 225 grams of plain flour. I've got 150 grams of chilled butter right here. 1 egg, and we also have here 30 grams of icing sugar for the short crust pastry. Now I've got the ingredients here for the frangipane ingredients. So I've got 228 grams of butter, 228 grams of sugar, we've got 4 eggs, I've got 28 grams of grounded almonds, right there. Okay, and I am going to be also using 28 grams of just some plain flour. So that is the ingredients for the short crust, for the frangipane ingredients, and then there's also the other last element to this tart, and that's the jam. And we're going to make our own blackberry jam. It's very straightforward. So what I have here, I have 400 grams of blackberries, and I have some jam sugar. In go the blackberries. Blackberries go in like that. Now what we have to do, you have to pop the blackberries in like this. Then I'm going to add the sugar, jam sugar, with the blackberries. Then you have to add 4 tablespoons of water. There we go. And you have to start letting that heat up and start to simmer, and when you hear it, you just put it onto a medium heat, and then you just stir it quite regularly for about 25 minutes. So I'm just going to let that do its magic for a moment. Right, okay, so we're going to get started on the short crust pastry. So I'm going to just get the flour, so 225 grams of plain flour, and I'm just going to sieve this through. In it goes, just to get the lumps out. So I've got 150 grams of chilled butter here. I'm just going to work this in to the flour with the tips of my fingers, And we're just going to work the butter in to the flour until it makes like a very crumbly breadcrumb kind of consistency. Okay, so whilst I'm making this short crust pastry, obviously the jam is just cooking there and I can hear it simmering away there. So whatever you do, don't forget your jam. Okay, so once you've worked the butter in, I'm going to add the icing sugar. There we go. Now once that's really well mixed in, I'm going to break an egg in there. And then just make like a little well in the middle of your flour and add the egg. And you should really feel that all coming together quite nicely now. There you go, and it's really starting to stick and come together. Now, as you can see, that's come together really nicely. This is what you want, that you can just put it into a ball like this. And then, well, I'm just going to wrap it up in some cling film or some tin foil, and I'm going to just pop it in the fridge. Now, I am just checking on the jam, and it has gone over a little bit, but it's okay. The lid was on, and it kind of just boiled over a tiny bit, but it's all okay. So it's all doing good. This is coming along nicely. And I'm going to put the short crust pastry in the fridge to cool down. And this has just got a little more to go, a few more minutes to cook. Right, so I'm just going to pop the short crust pastry into the fridge. I'm just going to wrap it up. And then we're going to get on with the next part. So for the frangipane, I'm going to start with the sugar and the butter, and we're going to mix them together and cream them up a bit together. In goes the 228 grams of sugar, and then I'm going to add the softened butter, because this has to be mixed together until it's really creamy and fluffy. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into my mixer. Okay, so I've put everything into my mixer, and I'm just going to mix up the butter and the sugar together and cream them up. Okay, so the butter and the sugar is looking really light and fluffy. And now I'm going to put in one at a time the eggs. I've got 4 eggs. And you just have to make sure that each egg is well incorporated before you add the next egg. And you just do each one like that. I've just given the jam a little stir as well, and I've actually turned the heat off on the jam now, so that will now start to cool. Okay, so that's all 4 eggs in. I'm just going to get my little cake spatula here and make sure that it's all mixed in around the edges. So okay, that's all really nicely folded in, all the eggs are nicely mixed in. And now I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to fold in the ground almonds. And I'm going to do that by hand. I'm going to do it all by hand. I'm not going to use the mixer for this. Right, so there we are. What we've got. So I'm going to get the almonds. that a nice mix in, fold it in nicely. And I'm also going to add the almond. I'm using some almond essence, some natural extract. Okay, and you can get that from the supermarket, and I'll use about a tablespoon. Should be more than enough. And just, oh, it smells so nice. I can really smell, oh, that really smells like Frangipane now. That is real Frangipane. God, it just smells like Christmas or the New Year. Because I'm half French, or probably a bit more than half French, but it's very traditional in France to make a Frangipane tart for the New Year around the 6th of January, and they celebrate New Year, and they have the galette des rois, and oh, yeah, and it's just so good. They just do it so good. My mum always used to, she makes one every January, and you put a little bean inside the galette des rois. I'm sure you've heard of it, and whoever gets the slice with the bean is the king, is crowned king and queen. So you get 2 beans in it, and there's a king and queen for the New Year. And we always used to do that as little. Just a nice tradition to do. Kids love it, and we always loved that. So now I'm also going to just add in a little bit of flour, the same amount as the almonds. And just fold that in by hand as well. I'm not going to use the mixer. Just no need really. Okay, so this is coming along really nicely. Okay. I just love making this. I love sharing this with you. You know, cooking, there's something just so therapeutic about cooking, and I just love it. I just love making things and new things that I've never made before. To be honest, I've only made this once before, and so it's quite a new recipe for me to make myself. But it's just one of those ones you just, you know you're on the right tracks with it. So I'm just going to put this to the side for now. Now, the only thing is you have to respect each step as you go with this recipe, because obviously the short crust has to chill in the fridge for the amount of time that it needs to be in there for. So it's been in there for about 20 minutes, which is just right. It's just a good time. And also the jam is going to have to cool a little bit as well before you start to use it. So I've got the jam here, and I'm just going to put it into a bowl just so it can cool, because it's very, very hot. Obviously, jam gets extremely hot, so be really careful. Right, okay, so here's our jam. Here is our jam here. So I'm just going to give this jam a little bit of time to cool down, and then we're going to start rolling out the pastry in just a moment. I'll just put this to one side. Okay, so I've taken out the short crust, which we're going to roll out now, and we're going to get that ready and into the tin. And I've got my rolling pin. Mustn't forget that. And I've also just put the oven on at 175 degrees Celsius. I've got a fan assisted oven, so just you might need to adjust that accordingly. So here we go. I'm just going to put some flour on the surface here. Dust onto my hands a bit. Okay, well that's good. So we're going to roll this out. There's something so satisfying about making your own pastry. It makes me feel so proud and happy. I don't know, it's just one of those things that it's so much better to make it yourself. Okay, and don't forget to butter your tin. Okay, so I've just popped the shortcrust pastry. I've just popped the shortcrust pastry onto the tin here that has been buttered, and I'm very, very happy with this shortcrust pastry. I'm just going to cut the edges to make it nice and tidy. And there we go. We're going to fill it now and get it in the oven. We're going to pop the jam first into the pastry base, and we're going to layer it. So we're going to put the jam on, and then we're going to put the Frangipane on top. Right, so I've popped the jam in. So now I'm going to layer the Frangipane mixture over the top of the jam. Now you could pipe it on and use a piping tool. I'm quite happy using a couple of spoons and it works well. Okay, so it's ready to go into the oven. So before this tart goes in the oven, I'm just going to sprinkle some flaked almonds on top. Just take a few handfuls is fine. Right, and there we go. And now the tart can go in the oven. Right then, so the 25 minutes is up and I'm going to get the tart out the oven and we're going to have a look and see what it's like. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's looking really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to let that cool before I start cutting it or anything like that, and let that just cool down nicely. And I have kept back some of the jam that was a bit too runny. I didn't put the really runny bits into the tart. I just put the big fruity bits, and I kept back the runnier part of the jam, and I made like a coulis. So I've just popped it into a jar, and you can add it on to your dessert if you need to, if you want to. So I think that's going to be a nice little touch. That's just a nice little addition that I thought might be nice. So and also I'm going to serve this tart with custard, a white chocolate creme anglaise. just break the pieces up a little bit. And I'm just going to be using some bird's custard. So the white chocolate has melted very nicely and it's ready to add to the custard. Here's the custard. Okay, that's just warming up nicely. And I'm going to just add the white chocolate. Here's the tart, it's cooling down nicely. And I think I'm going to try and cut it and cut a slice out to show you. Right, so I've cut the tart and I am really happy with it. It's looking really, really nice. It's just how I wanted it to be. And so I couldn't be happier with that. It's going to be trying time. I have to give it a try. And I've got a bit of extra coulis here that I'm just going to add over it. Okay. A little tiny bit of custard here, what with white chocolate. And now I'm going to give that a go. Okay, that is really yummy. That is a real Frangipane treat. That is delicious. Everything is really yummy. The jam isn't too tart. It's really not overly sweet either, but it's just sweet enough. And the almonds are really coming through, that frangipane, and it's just delicious. It is. I'm really happy with that. And I'm glad I saved a bit of coulis as well, and the white chocolate custard goes really nice with it, so it just cuts through it really nice. And really happy with that. So really good festive recipe, really quite easy to do and fairly quick. And it serves up to 12 people, so you've got plenty of it over the festive season. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Thank you for being here so I can share this with you today. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting my channel and giving me thumbs up and subscribing, and just thank you so much. And I will be back for lots more exploring and recipes. I put lots and lots of updates on Instagram, so I'm always on Instagram. So check out my Instagram because there's lots more going on there. And I update it very regularly, like all the time. So join me on Instagram and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you all soon. All of you take care and have a lovely day or evening. And I will see you soon.